Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking with you about the new fort update. Okay, this is big. This is a step in the right direction. Okay, so the new fort update takes place on 3 islands where the forts are, and the rest is kind of spread around for you. I'm going to show you some images now. So over here we have this was made by Lee77778. Okay, this was provided by him, so great thanks to you. Over here we can see the 3 different forts. We have one over here by Nasu, one up here by Nova Belareska, and one over here by Blackwind. Now the reason why you would want a fort in the first place is because of the new ore system. Okay, so what you do with ore is that you take a boat, you put the ore onto the boat, and then you can transfer that ore around to different islands and get different rewards. So on these islands we have, as of right now, 3 different islands with 3 different, or one of them has an extra reward as of right now. So if you take ore from, let's say, Nasu over to St. Petersburg, you get iron. If you take the same ore over to Clydesdale, you get saltpeter and SP. If you take from down here, you get coal. So the different there is no difference in where the ore comes from, but the difference is where you sell it. So ore, as of right now, it's not valuable doubloon wise. I believe it sells for like 10 doubloons each place, at least from what I have seen, but it's the resources that you trade for it. So if you take like ore from Nasu and give it in for iron over here, you get 10 iron. That's like 10 iron a minute for a maxed out factory, which we'll get onto later. But that's kind of like the difference. There is a new metal over at St. Christopher, which is called Februinium, which is, I've heard it's a limited time metal, which means it won't be here forever. So it's best to get on with, gather some kind of crew or something, or a faction, and just build a fort and then trade this around. A few things to note is that the only person that gets what the ore is worth is whoever sells it. So if I'm the captain and I sell it, the crew doesn't get any. Only the person who sells it, which is kind of a bum thing, but it might change in the future. I don't know. It works for that, like that, for all of them. So whoever sells the crate is the one that gets it, not the whole crew. And another thing to note is that if you die on the fort, right? If I was to die here, it would spawn me back over there, and I would not get a single thing. I would not get no pop-up that tells me to respawn. There is no way to respawn here unless you're standing on one of your boats. So now we're gonna go over to not transportation or anything like that, but we're gonna go over to building and the main fort, you know, the meat, the bread and butter of this update. So when you first come to an island that has a fort, which is one of these 3 islands, you're going to find a flagpole just standing here completely alone, you know. You then go up to that flagpole. It's going to say claim base. Keep in mind you cannot have more than 1 base. However, you can besiege a fort, take that base, and you will keep all of the upgrades. You just have to repair and rebuild the stuff you have broken, which we'll get onto later. You claim the base, then nothing will be here, of course. You'll have to build everything yourself. Now the early buildings, not this of course, when there's nothing here, I believe it only costs lumber. And some of the stuff might cost, no, not lumber, logs, which you can see we have an abundance of. You cannot take out this unless you are an attacker, I believe, though I may be wrong. You can definitely take ore if you're an attacker and just ditch the whole base. So what you then would want to do is you walk up with everything in here, everything in the storage. You walk up here and then you click add. That is essentially, once it's full, it's going to build the wall for you. and then you get a wall, and then you have to do that with everything around here. Some segments take a long time, like the back part right here, and then it goes all the way up to tier 2. So as you can see right here, here's the tier 2. This factory is tier 2. The tier 1 factory makes 0.75 per minute, and the tier 2 one, which is max, makes a whole one per minute. So I would definitely recommend, of course, building the base first to protect the loot, and then make your factory so you can safely produce it without people coming on and saying, oh, that's pretty ore you have there, mind if I take that? Now, as of right now, I don't believe upgrading the armory or the storage does anything, so I wouldn't do that to the last. I believe it only increases the HP. And the forts, like the main towers that are going to be your main defense, have very good range, but they are kind of like expensive they're the most expensive building, I believe, to upgrade, but they offer the greatest of defense towards other incoming ships. Now the towers, they have a bit of a higher arc, and they fire level 1 or tier 1 towers fire in volleys of 2, so that's 2 round shots of medium cannons, I believe, each volley, and the tier 4 tower gets pitched up a little higher. No, not tier 4, tier 2 gets pitched up a little higher, and it gains a volley of 4 cannons. So upgrading your tower essentially gives it a bit more range, I believe, and increases the damage by 2, so you get double the damage. Now you can also upgrade your gatehouses, which does nothing except maybe make the swivel gun positions a bit better. Upgrading some walls, not all of them, but some of them, will put an extra gun mount there, which it has to be player manned. Unlike the tower guns that are AI controlled, you cannot gun these. However, right here there would be a gun mount for a gun, which is automatically built by the fort, and all of the round shot and all ammunition right here is supplied by the fort. So as you can see, I can fire this and it reloads automatically. I have no swivel gunshot, so all ammunition is supplied by the fort, not for your handhelds, but for everything connected to the fort. So now let's go over to the raiding department. When you're raiding or besieging a fort, what you want to do is to bring mortar ships, because you're not, unless you're a heavy amount of guns on a boat and you have a lot of crew, you're not really going to be able to besiege this, especially if it's maxed out. Now the requirements for taking over a fort is number 1, destroying both towers. You cannot attack the fort or claim it unless both towers are down. You also want to take down a piece of the wall, not only to create an entry point, but it is a requirement. 2 towers and 1 wall is requirement for destroying and capturing the fort. When a fort is captured by the occupants, all upgrades will remain, but you will have to repair and get these back up and running, whatever you have destroyed. So I believe there is a small amount of safety time for these walls, for the fort, just to give you a time to prepare. However, if you die on the island while defending or attacking, you get sent back to spawn, so you want to be very careful. Bombarding the island with mortars is highly recommended for this. It is almost impossible if you're not doing it that way. Also, try to stay away from the gatehouse or destroy the gatehouse when you are attacking, because the swivels, they are very good and very powerful for kind of sending you away. So I'm going to show you some upgrade costs. These ones don't matter. However, the factory, here you can see, you do need lumber for the factory, so it's more of a late game resource or a mid game, as well as the armory. But I don't believe you need lumber for the walls, so they're essentially free resources. Now, a very important thing to note is that for larger servers, only in new servers by the way, for larger servers you do get more for the raid base drops. So I don't know if that is for the ore or quickness making a thingy, if this gets upgraded the bigger the server is, or if it's some kind of reward you get for taking over a fort. I do not know this. We also have you cannot have more than one fort, and all the forts give ore. There is no different resource for each fort. You also need all these different materials. I don't know if weapons do anything as of right now. I don't believe it does. It's something cool. Raiders can come in here. They can take your stone, they can take your logs for their own base. So I would highly recommend at least having one person here patrolling. Remember, this is a cooperative base thingy. It is not recommended to do alone because it takes a very long time to get this fort set up. So highly recommend doing this by the side of friends or some sort of navy. Now that is all I know as of right now for the forts. I'm sure there's things I have missed, and take everything I've said with a grain of salt because all information is very new and most information is subject to change. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this helpful or you found something was missing, please make sure to leave a comment down below telling me if I missed something, or if you are grateful, or just give me a like or a subscribe. You have a good one, you have a blessed day, goodbye, and see you later.